Halfsword is an exacting and unflinchingly visceral medieval combat simulation that endeavors to reconstruct with almost scholarly fastidiousness the sanguinary realities of 15th century European martial praxis. Rather than indulging in flamboyant heroics or exaggerated spectacle, the game situates the player within a stark, corporeal, and uncompromising representation of armed confrontation, where steel, sinew, and survival converge in contests of merciless intimacy. At the very nucleus of its design philosophy lies a sophisticated physics-driven combat system that repudiates the mechanistic simplicity of conventional hack-and-slash paradigms. Instead of relying upon preordained animation sequences, the player exerts granular dominion over each movement of the weapon. Every thrust, Mordhau strike, parry, bind, and half-sword maneuver must be consciously articulated through direct input, with blade trajectory and bodily momentum governed by simulated mass, inertia, leverage, and friction. The heft of a longsword is palpable. The encumbrance of articulated plate tangibly alters mobility. The slightest misjudgment of distance or angle may culminate in catastrophic vulnerability. In consequence, each duel becomes a volatile dialectic of precision and peril, demanding strategic circumspection rather than reflective impulsivity. The game's aesthetic construction is equally imbued with historical verisimilitude. Arms and armor are meticulously modeled in accordance with extant historical exemplars, reflecting not merely ornamental detail, but functional authenticity. Gambesons absorb impact differently from chainmail. Plate harness distributes force, yet restricts agility. The arenas, evocative of tournament, lists, and judicial dueling grounds, resonate with the austere pageantry of a martial culture, in which reputation, honor, and mortality were inextricably intertwined. Through these environmental and mechanical details, the experience transcends superficial immersion and approaches a form of interactive historiography. Progression within the game unfolds through a grueling ascent from obscurity to renown. The player begins as an uncelebrated combatant, bereft of distinction, and must navigate a succession of increasingly perilous encounters. Triumph yields not only improved equipment, superior blades, reinforced armor, and diversified armaments, but also the intangible capital of prestige. This gradual accumulation of martial prowess reinforces the thematic centrality of discipline and perseverance, for advancement is neither arbitrary nor bestowed, but earned through demonstrable mastery. Integral to the game's identity is its unvarnished depiction of corporeal consequence. The damage model is both intricate and unsparing. Limbs may be maimed, helmets crushed inward, joints compromised by a precisely placed thrust. Wounds manifest with unsettling realism, and the battlefield bears the grim testament of its violence. Yet this brutality is not without philosophical dimension. When an adversary is rendered defenseless, disarmed, incapacitated, or supine, the player confronts a moment of ethical deliberation. One may elect to administer a merciless coup de grace, extinguishing the foe in a final, irrevocable act of domination. Alternatively, one may exercise clemency, sparing the vanquished opponent and refraining from gratuitous slaughter. This capacity for choice imbues the carnage with moral gravity, transforming each encounter into a subtle mediation on power, restraint, and the mutable boundary between necessity and cruelty. Furthermore, the game's emphasis on emergent interaction ensures that no engagement is wholly deterministic. The unpredictable interplay of physics, terrain, and human error engenders encounters that feel organic and unscripted. A blade may glance unpredictably off a cuirass. A desperate grapple may dissolve into a frantic struggle for positional superiority. Fatigue and miscalculation may invert the balance of advantage in an instant. This systematic dynamism cultivates an atmosphere of constant tension, wherein even seasoned combatants must remain vigilant against complacency. The auditory and visual presentation amplify this immersion. The clangor of steel reverberates with resonant metallic timbre. The labored respiration of armored fighters underscores the exertion of combat. The muted ambiance of the arena contrasts starkly with the explosive immediacy of violence. Light glints off polished plate. Blood darkens the sand, and the choreography of motion unfolds with both elegance and brutality. Such sensory fidelity contributes to a holistic experience that is as effective as it is mechanical. In its totality, Halfsword constitutes not merely an entertainment product, but a formidable simulation of marital confrontation. It demands patience, deliberation, and an almost aesthetic dedication to improvement. Success is contingent upon comprehension of spacing, timing, biomechanics, and tactical foresight. Through its amalgamation of historical authenticity, mechanical sophistication, and ethical agency, the game articulates a singular vision of medieval combat, one that is austere, harrowing, and intellectually resonant. Ultimately, Halfsword stands as a rigorous exploration of violence stripped of romantic embellishment. It is a crucible in which skill is tempered by adversity, where triumph is inseparable from consequence, and where the player must continually negotiate the boundary between ruthless expedience and principled restraint.